The Ministry of Works and Housing presented one memorandum today to Council for the award of contract for the rehabilitation of the 118.9 kilometer Kefi Nasarawa Toto Road in Nasarawa State in favor of Mrs. Wiz Chino Engineering Limited. The contract was approved. The memo was approved for the award of the contract for 36.130 billion naira. In addition, Mr. President signed today an executive order number 11, dated the 6th of April. This is an executive order for the implementation of the National Buildings Maintenance Policy. You will recall that in 2019, in one of my briefings here, I had briefed you that a national maintenance policy was developed by the Ministry of Works to ensure maintenance of public assets and hopefully also private assets, and to position maintenance as a major economic driver to employ young people and so on and so forth. Also to uptake the product from our technical and vocational education systems. In order to facilitate the implementation of that policy which was approved, Mr. President has signed Executive Order number 11 today, just before Council commenced. And in his remarks, which the Honorable Minister of Information, I'm sure, will make available to you, I think it's just important to just highlight some of the remarks made by Mr. President in the short remarks that he gave. He emphasized that this was in order to ensure the fullest implementation and the impact of the policy. He also emphasized that by this order, I expect ministries, departments, and agencies to set up and ensure the operation of their maintenance departments and make necessary procurement for their maintenance in accordance with the provision of the Public Procurement Act. I commend this policy for the consideration of the states and local governments and indeed the private sector. Mr. President concluded by saying, quote, "Maintenance of assets is more than a culture. It is an economy from which many can prosper, and we must nurture and water that economy by policy and actions that create opportunities and inclusion for our people," end of quote. He also said, and I quote him, that while it is true that our economy has been diversified and the non-oil sector is leading in terms of contributions to the gross domestic product, the maintenance and facility management component of the services sector is an opportunity that is waiting to be maximized. It is my hope that this order will open the door to this treasure of opportunities for young technicians, for artisans, for vendors and suppliers, and for small businesses and cottage industries, end of quote. So this was a major decision by Mr. President today, and in the fullness of time, I'm sure that the Nigerian economy will begin to reap the benefits of this executive order and implementation of maintenance and facility management nationwide. And you will hear from my colleague later. I think two of the memoranda he presented today were also about maintenance of his airport facilities. Some of the new airports that were commissioned, people were already saying, oh, is it going to look like this? How is it going to be looked after? So he will fill in the gap there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May I please call on the Honorable Minister of Water Resources to brief us on this memo.
Thank you, Mr. Information. Today I presented a memo seeking council to approve the concession and redevelopment of the what we call K Maroon complex in Ijora, Lagos, belonging to the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority. It's a property called, like a farmer's market that was comprised of 100 shops that was handed over to Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority after the, I wouldn't say collapse, but wrap-up of the defunct National Livestock Production Company. It's an asset of the National Livestock Production Company that was transferred to Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority. The idea is to put this complex back to use, and therefore a 20-year concession was approved for the winner of the bid to rehabilitate the complex and then lease out the shops and the cold room facility and other facilities that are there so that revenue can come to the government, and at an agreed annual rate for the shops and for the cold room to be remitted to the River Basin Development Authority. Now, this falls in line with our efforts to revitalize the River Basin Development Authorities with a program we started in February 2016. The idea being that the River Basin should be more responsive to the needs of the communities, and also to facilitate some kind of initially a partial privatization, partial commercialization of the river basins, leading to full commercialization in the long run. So, contrary to reports that have been carried out before that our river basins are going to be privatized, this is not the case. What we are doing is commercializing. We're starting with what we call partial commercialization, and hopefully in the future, if this works well, it will lead to full commercialization so that the River Basin Development Authority will stop depending on annual budgetary allocation from the federal government to run their affairs. That is the sum total of it. Already this program has started with the pilot project in 4 River Basin Development Authorities, namely Sokoto Rima River Basin, Upper Niger River Basin, the Ogun-Osun River Basin, and Niger Delta Basin Development Authorities. So this particular memo and this, what we sought approval for, is part of it's a test case, if I may put it, on how eventually one would like to see these river basins operating. More revenue to government, more relevance to the farmers and to rural development, and at the same time, not depending so much on government to be able to conduct their own activities. So much is going on in that respect, and we hope to see more of this. And public-private partnership is one of the key issues that was identified after a transaction advisor was appointed by the BPE, working with the Ministry of Water Resources, so that some of the facilities that are really not being used can be put back to proper use. So a good day for us in this respect, and a milestone in our efforts towards revitalizing the river basins, especially the partial commercialization process. Thank you.
Minister of Aviation actually presented about 4 memos today, 5, which are all approved. So it's my pleasure to please invite the Honorable Minister to please brief us. Thank you.
Gentlemen of the press, good afternoon to you all. So today in council there are 5 memoranda from civil aviation, and they've all been taken and approved, starting from the ones on contract for the maintenance of new international terminal buildings at Abuja And Port Harcourt, as the Honourable Minister of Works and Housing has said earlier on, the government has put up a program in place to ensure that all infrastructure is being maintained, and so that they will remain as they are, perhaps even more improved with regular maintenance. So in this case, it's for 2 terminal buildings, and for the total sum of 5,653,341,729.07 naira. And this will be including, of course, the VAT, which is 7%, and then is for a period of 3 years. For a period of 3 years. The maintenance will run for the 2 airports and is awarded to Master CCECC, who were the company that in the first place built those facilities. And the second memo is approval for variation on contract sum for the construction of a new terminal building and perishable cargo at Akanu Ibiam International Airport in Enugu and that of Asaba. So the Asaba one, you know, is not a federal government airport, but we are putting in a cargo terminal building there. This is funded through appropriation, through federal budget. You recall the remaining 4 terminals, Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja, are funded through the Chinese loan. But this particular one in Enugu is funded through our appropriation of federal government, including the cargo therein and also the cargo at Asaba. So the total contract sum for this procurement so rather the variation therein for this procurement is revised to become now 44,328,240,908.47 naira. So the total contract sum now, with the variation of 14,242,808,433 kobo. All these are in naira. And then, of course, 12-month additional completion period. The meaning of additional, it means on top of the completion period, there's an additional of 12 months for us to ensure that we've delivered the Asaba and the Enugu cargo terminals plus the completion of the Enugu new terminal building. And the other one is approval for the award of contract for the procurement of L3 X-ray machine parts and maintenance support services. This is also to do with maintenance and is given to a company called Leidos Security Detection and Automation Inc. Through their own local company here, Mrs. Ifanit Limited. And this procurement is in the sum of 469,679,484 naira, even with, of course, VAT of 7.5% and a period of 12 months. Then, of course, the next is approval for variation of contract for the procurement, configuration, delivery, and commissioning of transportable radars co-mounted with another radar and tower control center for enhancement of the Northeast surveillance safety of air navigation operations and for the airport in Maiduguri to run 24 hours. You know, Maiduguri was once the epicenter of our insecurity, and then we needed to be able to see through the radar to be able to pick up any metal in the sky. And we needed to do that in, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and 365 days in a year. So because of fluctuation with the Forex, when it was approved, it was at 305 naira to the dollar, but today is well above that. So we came for variation, and it has been approved by council. And the last one from us was memorandum seeking council to approve award of contract for some aviation year 2021 capital budgets in favor of various companies, and they are as follows. Construction of clinic for Abuja Airport to Mrs. H Function Design Limited for 2,327,066,559.93 naira and 12-month period. Second, construction of clinic at Kano at same price, 12 months, given to Mrs. Dompet. And construction of clinic in Port Harcourt, given to Mrs. TMCH Group Limited, same price, 12 months. And construction of clinic in Lagos to Mrs. Jamub Global Resources, same price and 12 months. And replacement of elevators and escalators at Wing D and E in Lagos Old Airport, Wings D and E, Lagos, and is given to Trimark Engineering Services Limited for 789,739,983.38, 12 months. Then development of cargo terminals at Katsina, Birni Kebbi, Kiti, to Mrs. Gulf of Africa, 2,442,056.82 naira for 12 months. Then procurement of and installation as well as maintenance of escalators, travelators, and lifts in Lagos, given to Mrs. Glovesley for 1,314,496,970.19 naira, 12 months. And lastly, procurement and maintenance of 100 units, check-in counters, weighing scales, and spare parts at Murtala Mohammed Airport and Abuja airports, given to Mrs. BLK International Limited at the sum of 846,462,232 for 12 months. Total 14,702,897 and 35.98 naira. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister of Education presented the memo which was approved in Council today, and that memo was to seek approval for the issuance of provisional licenses for the establishment of 12 proposed private universities. The memo was considered, it was approved, and the private universities are Penn Resource University in Gombe State, the Al-Ansar University in Maiduguri in Borno State, the Margaret Lawrence University in Delta State, the Khalifa Ishaku Rabi University in Kano State, the Sports University in Idumuje, Ugoko in Delta State, Baba Ahmed University, Kano State, Saisa University of Medical Sciences and Technology, Sokoto State, Nigerian British University in Assa, Abia State, and the Peter University, Achina Onene in Anambra State, the Newgate University in Minna, Niger State, the European University of Nigeria in Dubois, Abuja, FCT, and the Northwest University, Sokoto State. The Honorable Minister presented this memo on behalf of the National University Commission. It was this particular memo attracted very lively contribution from members, and probably the only what you need to know also, apart from the various the due process it had to go through, is that each university that won't be given a provisional license will be mentored by older universities And if I can just read for you that it is the Penn, the Penn Resource University in Gombe is going to be mentored by Modibo Alma University of Technology in Yola, while the Ansar University in Maiduguri will be mentored by University of Maiduguri. The Margaret Lawrence University, Galia in the Delta State will be mentored by Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Oka. The Khalifa Isha Kurabi University in Kano will be mentored by Bayero University in Kano. The Sports University in Delta will be mentored by University of Benin. The Baba Ahmed University in Kano will be mentored by Bayero University. The Sasa University of Medical Science and Technology in Sokoto will be monitored by Usman Danfodio University. The Nigerian British University in Abia State will be mentored by University of Port, and the Peter University in Anambra will be mentored by Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Oka. The Newgate University in Mina will be mentored by the Federal University in Mina, Niger State, and the European University of Nigeria in Abuja here will be mentored by University of Abuja, and finally the North Gate University in Sokoto will be mentored by Usman Danfodio University. Some of the remarkable characteristics of these universities that some of them are, you can see that some of them are a bit specialists in terms of sports university, University of Medical Sciences and the like. And of course, from the memo, it's clear that with the population of 200 million, we do not have enough universities, because I think both the private and the public universities we have today is about 203 or 201, while smaller countries with smaller population have several hundreds. So there's still need for more private universities. The Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory Administration presented a memo today seeking approval for the revised estimated total cost of the contract for the extension of Inner Southern Expressway from Outer Southern Expressway to the Southern Parkway in favor of Mrs. Salini Nigeria Limited. The contract, the augmentation sought and approved is in the sum of 1,349,223,700 naira 75 kobo, raising the total contract sum from 17,228,709,648 naira 12 kobo to 18,577,933,348.85 naira, and we'll be assured that this will be completed in the next 12 months. Finally, the Honorable Minister for Communication and Digital Economy also presented a memo seeking Council's approval for the augmentation of contract for the construction of the National Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center in Abuja, sometimes in 2020, November, if I'm correct, yes. Council, yes, in November 2020, already approved the sum of 9,958,598,000,000 194,721 to Messrs. Cosgrove Investment Limited to build this center. Work, commenced, immediately. However, due to rising price, rising cost of critical materials, he had to come back to council today for an augmentation. The center has gone very well. It's I think about more than 45%, if I'm correct, completed, and the augmentation sort was approved, and we hope that you will be able to deliver in a good time. Thank you very much. Those are the memos presented by council. Well, let me please answer you. Yes, there was an attack on the on a military base in Kaduna State, but what was not reported was the very timely and efficient manner it was repelled, and the huge casualties suffered by the bandits terrorists. I think yesterday a particular television station actually reported this. I also have a video of the area interdiction by the military. You see, I keep saying this is an asymmetrical war in which we are not at liberty always to tell you how, in details, how the camps of the bandits and terrorists are being decimated daily. It's a war of attrition. But our military is living up to the billing. Our ministry is working day and night to ensure that the terrorists are neutralized. But unfortunately, there's a lot of second guessing that is going on. And we will continue to give relevant information on the progress we're making in our fight against the terrorism. But we can assure you that we're on top of this matter. And in any country in the world where you are fighting terrorists, the terrorists, the oxygen they need is what is being provided daily today, which is they want to occupy the front page of every paper. They want to be, they want to carry out, spectacular, attacks, even when they are down. And this is where I think we also seek your support in understanding the mentality of terrorists, that even when they are dying, they will look for the underbelly, a soft underbelly that will keep them relevant and enable them to get more money from their sponsors, more support from their sponsors. But clearly, the last 3, 4, 5 days, the military have recorded massive victories against terrorists and bandits. either in the northeast or in the Kaduna and Niger axis. You see, I know that on Monday there was a very successful area interdiction where scores, if not hundreds, of bandit terrorists were eliminated. Even when we are able to identify where the bandits are, sometimes out of fear of collateral damage to innocent civilians, you choose the time you want to strike. But I just want to assure you that the administration is not unmindful of your anxieties and your concerns. But probably because we are in charge, we can assure there's really, really no cause to think the government is overwhelmed. Not at all. We are not overwhelmed. And the last few days, I think, has confirmed that. Unfortunately, when we inflict these, victories on the bandits, for many reasons, we do not come out and say, "Oh, we've killed so many, we are going here." No, because it's continuous. But very soon, Nigerians would feel the impact of these victories. Already, thousands in the northwest, in the northeast in particular, have surrendered. We have decimated their camps, we destroyed their equipment, destroyed their weapons. And yesterday, 2 days ago, a big cache of arms was recovered, including trucks from them. So the war is going in our favor. I can say this very, very confidently, And this is because we've also been very mindful of the needs of the military. We have provided, within our very little resources, a lot of, equipment to the military. We've provided about 150 MRAPs, around 20, trucks, about 60 APC to the army. In addition, we've employed an extra 10,000 personnel to the military. We have provided accommodation for the army. The Air Force, of course, it is not just the 12 Tucano, Super Tucano jets that that they have that is helping. We also provided them with 3 JF, Thunder aircraft fighters, and that is why they are able to give support to the ground forces. And this is why you are recording this kind of successes. The Navy also, the federal government has supplied the Navy with, helicopters, giving them, inshore boats. We're giving them 90, rigid, inflatable boats. They have constructed the third locally constructed seaworld boat to fight piracy and to fight, the pirates and also all kinds of miscreants. And we have not left the police. We have taken seriously the community policing initiative of the federal government. Today, we have been able to graduate over 25,000 constabularies from the various police colleges in Nigeria. They've been trained in basic police duties, intelligence gathering, and the like. And they've been taken back and reassigned to their own local governments of origin because security is very local, so they can collect intelligence, and at the same time, improve police visibility. Also, about 418, I think, course 3 of the academy was graduated, also just to increase the officer personnel of the police. In addition, we've been able to provide, the police recently, among other things, provide them with 200 buffalo trucks. We provide them with, anti-riot gears, medical equipment. In addition to also looking at their welfare. In terms of welfare, we've reviewed and jacked up police salary by 20%. We have also given waiver for the junior staff from paying, income tax. We have also, employed another 10,000 to boost their personnel. So, and this is why we are confident that in a matter of time, we will overcome the terrorists, the bandits, and criminals all around. But far from being, overwhelmed, I think we're in control and we're in charge of the matter. Yes, thank you. Yes. Who are banding data about the economy and people suffering have not been very fair to this administration, because they are taking this data out of context. It's as if they think the economy is only getting worse in this part of the world. No. The economy, especially in terms of, price of food, in terms of, gasoline, in terms of fuel, it's a global phenomenon. And I challenge anybody, go and Google today, what was the price of, gasoline, diesel, staple food in 2016 in China, in South Africa, what it is today, and look at, also the situation in Nigeria. But that is not that is not my argument. My argument is that this administration is doing a lot to ensure food security and ensure energy security. Now, before we came in, scarce, foreign exchange was being used to import not just rice, but other staples. When we came in, the entire local production of rice in this country was under 4 million metric tons. Today is 7.5 million metric tons, thanks to the Anchor Borers program. When we came in, there were only 15 standard rice mills in Nigeria. We have over 50 standard rice mills in Nigeria today. Over 4.8 million farmers in Nigeria today benefit from the Anchor Borers program, not just in rice, cassava, palm oil, livestock and the like. So we have records. We have a story to tell about what we have done in the area of agriculture, for instance. And I tell people, I challenge them, come and contradict me and say it is not true that we used to import rice. Tell me it's not true that the total production of rice in pre-2015 was under 4 million metric tons. Come and say it is not true that we had only 15 rice mills. Come and tell me that 4.8 million farmers are not benefiting from the Anchor Borers program. These are all true. Yes, it is right to ask, why is it that despite all you are doing, there's still increase in food prices? And that's what I tried to explain. It is a global phenomenon. But again, we will appeal to our farmers also to reciprocate the gesture of federal government, because we are subsidizing agriculture through the Anchor Borers program. But it is the neighboring countries that are coming to buy And that is why recently we said we were persuading our farmers, don't sell food to foreigners at the farm gate. Because it's like we are subsidizing the food import. I mean the food of all the other countries around us. Go and travel, from here to, say, Mali. You see trucks of Nigerian rice, maize, being transported. But despite that, I can assure that, but for the effort we have put, today, this is not what we'll be saying. And then people talk about the economy, and I say, look, this government in particular has done a lot to ensure that the economy is improving and working well. Now, under our administration, we realized that one of the major problems we have was that there are so many bottlenecks and constraints for people who want to invest, who want to do business. And that is why we had the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, which up to date has implemented over 150 reforms. It's under this administration that CAMA, the most significant legislation in 30 years, was signed into law. Under this administration that we signed into law the PIA. And it is these reforms that has made it possible for people like Dangote to site his fertilizer plant in Nigeria. And as we speak today, that is the biggest fertilizer plant in the whole of Africa, and the second biggest in the whole world. It is our reforms that has made it possible for Boa Cement to be commissioned and to have a capacity of 3 million metric tons. It is a year. It is what is responsible for the modular refineries, the one in Ibigwe and 3 others coming up. So even in the area of the economy, we make conscious efforts to ensure that the environment is friendly and we can get people to invest and people can do better business. They complain about the poor people are hungry, and our response is yes. They laid the foundation for the hunger and for the hardship. But we didn't stop at that. We came in here and we are today implementing the biggest social intervention program in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. Our Empower has employed over 1 million people. We feed 10 million pupils every day a decent meal all over Nigeria. Our cash transfer, communal cash transfer, is benefiting about 2 million people in rural areas, which means about 2 million people in rural areas today receive every month 5,000 naira grant. It was increased to 3 million to accommodate the urban poor. Our government enterprise and empowerment program has benefited over 4 million Nigerians who have taken loans from them. So we can wheel out what we've achieved within this short time. But look around you. There's no country that is not facing one hardship or the other, or where the price of staple food or the price of diesel or the price of petroleum, PMS is not up. But because of the environment we have created in Nigeria, when later this year, the Dangote refinery is commissioned, I was there on Sunday, as many of you know, it's a 650,000 per day refinery. When it's commissioned by the end of this year, then the issue of exporting refined products, be it diesel, be it PMS, will be a thing of the past. Nigeria now is on the road to energy security, just as we are on the road to food security. Yes, we believe that the challenges are there. Times are tough, but we are not folding our arms and we are rising up stoutly to these challenges. Now, I think the other question you asked was about ASU. You see, can we say because ASU is on strike, therefore we will not have new universities? When we know that today 65% of eligible students to university are just roaming the streets. When we know that today we have over 5,000 Nigerian students in Ukraine alone, and I think the total Nigerian students outside there are about 165,000. Now, we have a population of about 200 million people, and we have just about 200 universities. While countries like Indonesia have about 1,200 universities. We cannot fold our hands because ASU is on strike, so we will not expand educational facility. We will do so. But it's not, you ask, that was the issue of ASU discussed in council. We have ministers and departments who are full-time every day dealing with the issue of ASU and the issue of unrest, labor unrest. It's not every matter that is discussed in council. No, but that's why you have ministers. Just once you have ministers, you have National University Commission, you have all kinds of organizations, that resolve, tackle those matters. But I cannot tell you that no government is going to just sleep and pretend that ASU is not on strike. No, even as we're speaking, there's engagement going on. Thank you very much.
The unions are saying that the government is not talking to them. The unions are saying that since they're not on strike, the government is not saying anything or talking to them on that.
As I wish the Minister of Education were here, he would have told you the date, the time, and the next meeting and what is going on. But I can assure you, no government will pull this out and say, ASU is on strike, as children are not in school, so we will not do anything. No.
Sorry, that's one aspect of my question. I said whether the council discussed the attack or whether your colleague
You see, the same answer to you. You see, immediately this occurred, even last Monday, I know what efforts, I know what actions the relevant ministers concerned took. I know. I'm talking about the attack in Kaduna. How do you think that the successes that have been recorded took place? It's not everything that you can bring in council and discuss. No. Mr. President immediately spoke to those he ought to speak to and gave he gave the marching order for them to do. It's not, as Federer has left here after council, he's meeting with other ministers, resolving and addressing other issues. Sorry, sir. Yeah, I think.
So this one was discussed in council. Maintenance. So I think the first thing to, just whilst we were talking, I just took another look at even this media room. And even you will admit that it has received a facelift in the last few months. Some things that were in some state of disrepair have been improved upon. And this is your office. So in terms of Nigerians benefiting, therefore, you are the first, some of the early beneficiaries. As I said in my brief, the policy was approved in 2019. What is instructive that I did not mention was that this is perhaps the first time a Nigerian government has made maintenance a matter of national policy. We always used to discuss it as if it was a cultural and a traditional issue. And Mr. President has addressed it in his speech, saying it's not a culture. It's a major economic objective that government must nurture, must invest in, and must grow so that the treasures can drill down to the entire community. So another example outside of this place is that in Mr. President's speech you will see, and I have reported this, there were 24 federal secretariats where federal government officials work across Nigeria. They were in some really unpalatable state. And if you go to those secretariats today, they now wear a very bright new environment and color. So the first set of Nigerians to benefit are federal government workers in terms of the work environment in which they do their work. That is a place where they spend a lot of time. And if you aggregate the number of times that workers spend at work, it probably leaves, it dwarfs the amount of time that they spend at home. So improving that work area will translate to productivity. But what might interest you is that because we have awarded a maintenance contract after rehabilitation for cleaning, sweeping, security, and horticulture and all of that, 40 new people who had no work before are now employed by each facility management. 40, a minimum of 40 in each of those secretariats. They are now contractors, subcontractors, employees of the facility manager in each of those 24 federal secretariats. And Mr. President is now trying to deepen this to all federal schools, federal courts, federal buildings, buildings of ministries, parastatals, departments and agencies, federal hospital, federal courtrooms. And you can just imagine the turnover in terms of jobs. Now, some of the things that are used in maintenance, washing, detergent, cleaning, brooms, brush, tools, are locally made as well. So the MSMEs who make these things will be a major beneficiary of the uptick in demand for this. You also have, as part of maintenance and facility management, provision of security services, uniforms, employment. So this is just going to release another sector of the economy. And if you want to just imagine some of what this can do, look in Europe, look across Europe and America, on their streets, you will see more vans. Out of every 10 vehicles, you will see more vans than cars. Those are vehicles of a maintenance economy. And as the demand begins to uptake, you want to see local manufacturing, local assembly companies beginning to go back to those vans and buses with ladders on them. And this is really the economy that I see, and I'm sure this is only a part of what Mr. President sees as possible. Policy and implementation releases the whole energy of the economy.
Thank you very much.